The magnificent ballroom of the Crescent Arts Foundation sparkled beneath crystal chandeliers as wealthy donors, musicians, and community leaders gathered for the annual charity concert. A beautiful grand piano stood beneath bright stage lights, while members of the city orchestra quietly tuned their instruments. The event had been organized to raise money for music, education programs for disadvantaged children. Among the honored guests was millionaire businessman Adrian Foster, famous for building a successful company from the ground up. Adrian was respected for his intelligence but criticized for his pride. He believed success came only through talent and determination, and he often dismissed emotional stories as attempts to gain sympathy. That evening, children from a local orphanage had been invited to perform before the main concert backstage. The young performers waited nervously for their turn. Among them was 9-year-old Emma, a quiet girl, holding an old violin that had once belonged to her late mother. The instrument showed years of wear, but Emma treasured it more than anything she owned. As Adrian walked backstage with several event sponsors, he noticed Emma carefully tightening the strings of her violin. He stopped and smiled with quiet amusement. So he said, folding his arms, "You're one of tonight's performers." Emma nodded politely, "Yes, sir." Adrian glanced at the worn violin. "Think that old thing can impress a room full of professionals?" Emma gently held the violin closer. "It belonged to my mother." Several volunteers exchanged uncomfortable looks. Adrian chuckled. "I'll tell you," what he said loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. "Play well enough to amaze me, and I'll adopt you." A few people laughed awkwardly. Others looked embarrassed by the remark. Emma looked at him calmly. "I don't want someone to adopt me because of a challenge," she said softly. "I just want people to listen." Her quiet confidence caught Adrian off guard. Before he could reply, the host announced that the orphanage performance was about to begin. Emma slowly walked onto the stage. The audience grew silent. She lifted the violin beneath her chin, closed her eyes, and drew the bow across the strings. The first note floated gently through the ballroom. Every conversation stopped. The music was filled with emotion, carrying sadness, hope, love, and quiet courage in every phrase. Emma played as though she were telling the story of her life without speaking a single word. Guests sat completely still. Several musicians exchanged astonished glances. Some audience members quietly wiped tears from their eyes. Adrian's confident smile slowly disappeared. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about money, success, or reputation. He was simply listening. When the final note faded into silence, the ballroom remained perfectly quiet for several seconds before thunderous applause erupted. Adrian slowly stood from his seat and walked toward the stage. Stopping in front of Emma, he lowered his head. "I thought I was testing your talent," he said quietly instead. "Your music tested my character." Emma smiled gently in that moment. Everyone in the ballroom realized that true greatness isn't measured by wealth. It is revealed by the ability to touch another person's heart.